little saddened by this, but let's continue forward with this anyway. Let's say goodbye to a friend that we love. Raise your glasses high and mourn the death of the album, the record album, the 33 and a third long playing album. Can it really be true? Can the album really be dead? I'm afraid so, folks. It means a lot to me because, hell, I was born just around the same time that the album came into existence. It was 1955. Rock and roll was on everybody's mind. And everybody was tired of clunky old 78 RPM discs made of lacquer or varnish or whatever they were made of. They were old, they were unwieldy, we didn't want them. We wanted something better, more technological, and we got it. We got high fidelity, hi-fi. We got it in the form of the long-playing Dynagroove stereophonic 33 and a third diamond stylist record album. The long play, the LP for short. The LP, 12 inches by 12 inches of perfect music. 1 square foot. You know, when I was in college, when I had to buy a rug or something for my floor, I used to use a record album to measure the floor, because I knew it would be just right. The record, you know, to our parents, they were a novelty. And to today's kids, they're a non-entity. But to us, they were a necessity. Of course, they were popular originally as soundtrack albums. And then, of course, we had, no, that doesn't belong in there either. We had jazz albums for jazz enthusiasts. And finally, we had collections of singles put into LP form. But albums grew just the same way we did. And soon, your identity was partially formed by the albums you had in your collection. You know, if you owned a copy of Cream's Disraeli Gears, it made a great statement about yourself. A much different statement than if you owned a Partridge Family record. Well, buying a record album became a ritual to me and many other teenage music connoisseurs. Hours of time spent in the record stores wondering whether to blow your $4.95 hard-earned cents on Led Zeppelin II or the new Procol Harum. But once you decided and got home, the real rapturous ritual would begin. First, there was the shrink wrap. Now, you know what I'm talking about. The plastic that covers the record and wraps it to protect it. You know, usually it was so difficult to get off that you couldn't even use an X-Acto knife or a Gillette razor. You ended up digging your fingernails into the side of the opening just to get, and you'd end up with bloody fingernails. And then came the great question, philosophical question of the mid to late 20th century. And that's whether to leave the shrink wrap on your record or to take it off. Now, some people say leave it on because it'll protect the cover of the album. But there are people who swear that if you leave it on, it will warp your records. Now, how many people took the shrink wrap off? Let me see bloody fingernails. Let me hear you. How many people left them on? Well, I was a leaver-oner. I swear I broke up with 2 different girlfriends over this very same argument. But you know, invariably the shrink wrap would come off of my record either out of deference to a living companion or sometimes just out of sheer boredom. But when you got the record open, then the real ritual and the rapture would begin. First of all, as you opened it, you got the tactile sense of the record. First of all, there's the smell of polyvinyl chloride, new PVC. Oh, that's great. It's like vanilla or gasoline or mimeograph paper when you were in 3rd grade. Remember that? And then feel the tactile sense of the record. Many would salivate in sheer Pavlovian response to the joy of such a purchase. Then the ritual would continue, and I don't care if you owned a $1,500 KLH or Harman Kardon component stereo system, or if you had a tinny little phonograph record player with a picture of Felix the Cat on the tone on it. You would do the same thing. You gently blow the dust off the needle. If you were a real snob, you'd have one of those disc washers and then get it all cleaned. And then you'd put the record album on and you'd listen to the music. And while you did that, you'd greedily read the back and the inside and the front of the record album cover, much the same way you greedily devoured that bowl of Lucky Charms earlier that morning for breakfast. I should write for the Wonder Years, don't you think? The album cover, perfect size for album art, unlike the puny cassette or the CD. The album cover was beautiful for psychedelic art, or for liner notes for jazz enthusiasts, or even just for clues to whether Paul was dead or not. And albums were, the way you played them was a perfect tool for psychotic, obsessive, schizophrenic behavior, because the way that the mechanism would repeat. I listened to side 2 of Joni Mitchell's Blue 833 times in a row in March and April of 1973. Then there was the true homage to excess, the double album, like the White Album by the Beatles, or Tommy by the Who, or like Woodstock, which is a triple album. But the best thing about double albums was that they were great for removing the herb from the seed. Of course, you could use a fold-out album for that too, like Crosby, Stills and Nash or King Crimson. But the funny thing about fold-out albums is you had to remove the shrink wrap. So maybe that's all right. And sure, your albums had surface noise. They had wow and pop and flutter. Sure, they had scratches. But each of those scratches was a scratch of love. And every scratch had a story behind it. The sound of a needle scratching over a record was the sound of our generation. We were young, we were mobile. We wanted to hear the sound of our own music, and if we didn't like the song, we didn't want to hear it, let alone sing it. But now, technology has once again reared its ugly head. Not to mention the greedy record executives and the hungry record-buying public. First, we got, in the form of new technology, the aforementioned cassette. And then my particular bone of contention, the CD. Ah yes, the CD. The perfect yuppie toy. Little, clean, expensive, and sterile. You can take your cassettes to like the beach and like your CDs into your Mercedes. I mean, you can't have a record player in your Mercedes. But let us remember our albums. Let us cherish them like decaying frescoes in Italian museums. They are our heritage. Recently I celebrated a birthday of sorts. The planet had spun around the sun 33 1/3 times with me on it. My 33 1/3 birthday. And on my 33 1/3, I remember the 33 1/3. The album. The LP. If you go into some record stores these days in malls, they don't have albums anymore. They've got cassettes and CDs and posters of Bon Jovi, but no albums. Goodbye, old friend. Let's say goodbye to a friend that we love. Raise your glasses high and mourn the death of the album. The record album. The 33 1/3 long playing album. Come on, everybody sing along. Good night, you moonlight ladies. Rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. That's it. The deep greens and blues are the colors that I choose. You should hear it on CD, it sounds great. Don't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Before you go out and invest a lot of money in CDs, just remember 8-track. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you when I turn 45.